Do you always obey your parents, or your teachers, or your seniors, or your elders, or yourself? Does your free and independent self even exist? Or if so, how complicated is it? Too many big questions. We have to start small, like really small, 1.5 inches small. Sphex is a genus that contains digger wasps. You know what? Let's go even smaller. The wasp larvae feed on paralyzed insects. The mother brings the prey to the burrow, but she has a very peculiar method in doing so. What she does is she grabs the insect, paralyzes it, and then leaves it at the entrance of the burrow. Then she goes inside and inspects if everything is okay inside the burrow. Then she gets out and drags the prey inside. Now this seems like an intelligent method, quite an intelligent method for an insect, and it made the researchers curious. And then the researchers did what they're generally supposed to do: question somebody else's intelligence and dig deeper into the topic. They performed a harmless experiment in which they moved the prey by an inch or so while the wasp was inside performing its inspection. When the wasp got out at the entrance, it noticed that the prey was moved. Then, instead of dragging the prey right inside the burrow, what the wasp did was it moved the prey right at the entrance and then got inside the burrow and re-performed the inspection once again. No matter how many times the prey was moved, the wasp got out, placed it at the entrance, got back inside, and performed the inspection once again and again and again. In one case, researchers performed the experiment 40 times, and 40 times the sphex just couldn't figure out to drag the cricket right inside in. Therefore, a lot of rationality is simply about recognizing our own sphexious behavior. How many times do we get into argument with our near and dear ones only to realize later that it was not wise on our part to do so? It is only after repeating the same thing again and again we come to an understanding that what we were doing was actually sphexious in nature. We repeat mistakes. I repeat mistakes. You repeat mistakes. History repeats itself is the widely popular phrase. But when the phrase was first written, we were definitely not talking about the universe looping its life cycle. Whose history were we referring here? We were referring to the historical events, or rather the similar historical events at that. So does this mean humanity is sphexious? It is not uncommon to find the incidences of public unrest, only to discover later that it was actually based on some misunderstanding. Females have been oppressed in our society for the longest time. For thousands of years, beating, abusing, domestic violence were actually the norms of our society. Only until recently, since the last few decades, we have started to understand the importance of women. We have started to treat them equally. And we stand up for them. If today, some female is disturbed in a public place or abused in a public place, men in the vicinity, almost all, if not everybody, will take a stand for that woman. Or will they? In the August of 2015, a young female shares a social media post alleging that a man verbally abused her at a traffic signal in Delhi. She just got home, wrote a Facebook post alleging that nobody stood for her, and she just posted it. The post goes viral, shared thousands of times the same evening. The same evening, the Chief Minister calls it an act of bravery and that other girls should follow her. The same evening, the man was labelled as national pervert. It took Indian judiciary 4 years to pass the judgment that Sarojit Singh was actually innocent. The girl never showed up in court, not once. The public reaction was over the top. It's illogical how so many people stood up for a woman who alleged that she was abused publicly. But nobody questioned outside the box. Nobody took time to process what was actually going on. Everybody reacted, nobody responded. Sphexious at a mass scale. Douglas Hofstadter and Daniel Dennett call the wasp's behavior unthinking, deterministic, or pre-programmed, in which the wasp was at mercy of its instincts and environment. They use this mechanistic behavior as an example of something that is seemingly thoughtful, but it is actually mindless. But humanity is a multifarious species. You just cannot classify everybody into just one category. Something very peculiar happened in the history of the modern world, in the history of humanity actually, on September 26, 1983, at the height of the Cold War. Soviet Union's early warning systems detected that a number of missiles have been attacked by United States of America towards Soviet Union. Stanislav Petrov, who was a duty officer at the time, was supposed to record the attack, register it, and report it to the seniors. But he had doubts. He had doubts if the signals were true. He also had the doubts if the signals were false. So he decided to take a moment. and just process what was happening. It was later discovered that the signals were actually a glitch in the computers. But according to BBC, this was actually a breach of his instructions, a dereliction of duty. The safe thing to do would have been to pass the responsibility on to refer up, but this decision may have saved the world. Stanislav Petrov prevented the Third World War, not by performing or executing or inventing something extraordinary, but by simply not performing the protocol, by taking a moment to think what was actually going on. 30 years later, he said in an interview that had somebody else been on the duty, the alarm would have been raised. Stanislav saved the world by not being factious. At the end of the day, rationality is something which uplifts human species. It separates us from the animals. It develops us. It takes us to the next level. But before we learn how to fix our cognitive biases, before we learn the art of thinking how to think, we must first learn to identify our factiousness. And as the famous saying goes, the smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise one learns from the mistakes of others. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the videos on this channel as well.